Hi, it's Amy. Welcome back to Hummingbird Hill, and it is the first week of September, the first day of September. It is the time when the garden should be winding down. Things should be wrapping up. I should already have things for the fall garden in place, but it's been an interesting year. That is not the case this year. And part of it is because I want to move beds around, so I'm not planting a fall garden. But also part of it is because the summer garden isn't even close to finished up, which isn't really a bad thing. It's just interesting. Right now, Basil Bell and I are out here watering, gonna pick some beans because those are the things that have produced the best this year. Check on the eggplants. I picked zucchinis yesterday, and the zucchinis are pretty slow usually. With 4 zucchini plants, I'm picking 2 to 4 zucchinis a day. But right now it's kind of 2 every other day, which is nice, perfect for eating. And we're gonna check the grapes. So I thought I'd just bring you along. We'll take a look at what the garden is looking like here on the first day of September. Let me flip you around. Grape watering going well. The side on this side with the regular play sand is actually rooting better than the sand over here, which is a silica sand, I think. But I'm just happy that I have more than one plant that is actually growing roots. And in fact, I have at least 7 or 8 on that side. This side has been disturbed a little more, I think, by other things. Oops, bug. Sorry. Don't mind me. There's a interesting bug on my arm. Tomatoes are growing, looking good. These have not reached their full potential, not even close. But the early girls here on the end are producing well. And as you can see why single stemming is helpful, I did not get that nice long sucker, and it has some beautiful tomatoes on it, so I've just left it. I'm like, at this point I'm okay. So they're not perfectly single stemmed. I'll do better next year. The purple Russians, or the Russian purples, have done okay. They've not gotten super dark. Hi, there's a bee in my hair. Oh, the bees love my shampoo. Uh-oh. I hate it when that happens. Hopefully I don't get stuck in my hair. That's awkward. But the purple Russians are doing okay. Not great. There's a plane going overhead and the water's on, so we'll see what you can hear. These are the Dr. Witchies, and they finally have some babies on them. This has been my most spindly plant, but it is taking off, and it does need a couple of extra suckers cut off just so I can focus on growing a little bit bigger and getting more vigorous. But as you can see, it's got some fine suckers here, but it's also growing super well. This is the Bonnie Best, which the top is looking great. I just need to prune some more leaves off the bottom. Don't know what's going on there. Again, I think I cut off a growth point at some point, but a sucker has come up, and we'll see if we get more tomatoes off it. Who knows? This is the beefsteak pink, and I've had a number of good tomatoes off of it, but they haven't been as big as these are starting to be. So we'll see if those get a chance to ripen. This is a Wapsakani peach, and those are just a sweet little tomato, and they have grown the most vigorously on this. As you can see, I need to pull that vine back through the panel. Coming over here, the Brad's Atomic grapes are going crazy. These are taking off definitely. I don't know exactly when these are ripe. I just kind of squish them and see. Oh, that one feels kind of ripe. I don't know, but there's so many of them. Now this plant again was pretty wimpy and has now taken off and has way too many suckers that are growing. I need to pull it back. The cherry whites are doing all right. They are not as vigorous as either the Brad's Atomic Grape or the Sun Golds, but there's a goodly number of them back here. More on this side, which is interesting, and they're woven through. And then the Sun Golds, of course, are going crazy, crazy. And this one, it's like a beanstalk. It's going up and around. It's so pretty. It's just a very pretty plant, and it's up over the top of the trellis right now. So that one's great. The asparagus ferns are awesome, except where Basil Bell insisted on pulling out 2 large chunks. Nothing's grown back there, so I hope that will come back next year. This is one of my sucker plants from June, and it's doing really well. We've got some peppers here that I planted from seed inside. They have not produced anything yet because I did not put these in the ground until maybe July because I was just the weird weather. So not sure about that. Let's go look at these suckers. These suckers over here are interesting. This one I obviously have not pruned. As you can see, it's going crazy. This one is single stemmed better. Same with that's a Russian, a purple. I don't know which these are. But this one is having a grand old time being big and bushy, and I'm just letting it go on with its bad tomato self. We'll see what we get. Over here I've got some more peppers. These I also put in not until June, maybe even July. Basil Bell, oh, that's a bird. That was a big bird. That wasn't a hummingbird. Interesting. Oh, I'm out of water. I need to fill the bird bath. So these are, they've got some nice starts on them. I don't know if I'll get any fruit. I don't know if it's going to cool down too much. Basil, leave the bee alone. My Kajari melon has a melon on it. The Tommy apple melons got nothing at all. So we'll see if I get any melons at all. And if you saw my video from last week, I'll put a link here. It's not that exciting, but it does let you know that what I thought was my cicada sweet was a squash. Don't know how that happened, but I have no melons. I have lots of good squash though, so that's a bonus. I do have some super cute cantaloupe over here growing. They're doing their best. This, I think, is either another cantaloupe or the Armenian white cucumber trying to take off. Not sure which. We'll see what happens when it flowers. I have some ears of corn here, amazingly enough. I don't know if they're, yeah, that's a little itty bitty. I don't know if they're actually edible or anything like that. Since the donkeys pulled things out, I've just kind of let this go. And I do have some baby ears, but I really don't think that they are anything worth eating. They might be fun for decoration. This is my extra ground cherry plant that I popped over in here just for fun because I had it and I kept it out until July-ish, just again because of trying to figure out where things were working and figure out the hay bales. Few carrots still. They're a little old. They have some lovely little hairs on them, but the donkeys don't mind them. Let's see. Oh, a rock is amazing. Look at how pretty that is. I've just let it go because it's so pretty. But it also has, I have 2 eggplants that I doubt will grow anything. We'll see. There's still time. Gorgeous marigolds that came back from my group that was frostbitten. And that's amazing. This is another tomato that I pulled off as a sucker. And as you can see, this one is doing the absolute best. It's the one I pulled off last. I haven't pruned it at all. I've just kind of let it go because this bed's kind of a messy bed right now. But it's about 5 feet tall-ish or so. No real tomatoes on it yet, but we'll see how that goes. The peas are finally definitely dying down. I just have a few that I need to pull off. I'm letting them dry on the vine so I can plant next spring with them. I did just come out and prune the artichoke back so that the plant in the center that's starting up again will have some space and won't get diseased from the plant that's dying off. Now this is what happened last year. Now this doesn't normally happen. So last year was the first time the plant came up in August and kept growing all through winter and then got gigantic in the spring. So my guess is this means we have a mild winter coming again, possibly. We'll see how that goes. Hold on just a second. Over in this bed, I do have 1 pumpkin growing. My pumpkins upstairs are much more vigorous, but this one I just plopped in here after it sat out in the garden for a while until I figured out what to do. When I pulled the garlic from here, I popped that in, so that was in early July, late June. Still got this, I think this is celery. I don't know exactly what this is, but gosh, it's pretty and healthy. So I've just left it there because I don't know exactly what it is. This is some celery that went to seed. That was the stuff that grew from all the way in last August, all the way through the winter, was doing great. But then we got those super hot days in May and then again in July, and it kind of just didn't have a chance. Now that is Chinese pink celery, and it has not gone to seed. The rest of my Chinese pink celery I let go to seed. So there's that. My mint bucket I trimmed back hard because it needed it. So it's starting to come on back. It's mint, so it's fine. I need to go turn off the water on the hay bale end of the garden. That part is getting way too much water. Hold on a sec. Let's go turn this off. Isabel, back. Oh, Papa, will you turn the handle off on the shiny one? Oops, careful, boy. Now, these onions from the Onion Experiment are actually pretty interesting. I've left some of them in the garden for way too long because I'm just trying to see what would happen, and they've actually sprouted again. Onions are kind of amazing. So these were the ones that I pulled last year, and they sprouted after I cured them. They were up in the barn, so they just were not cool enough. And so I cut off the edge, planted them. They grew all winter. They were lovely. I pulled a whole bunch and cooked them, ate them. They started to die back, and I was like, well, what's going to happen? Well, what has happened is they are re-sprouting. So I think that's super fascinating. Obviously, I have some weeds I need to get in here and pull. This bed has kind of been neglected because I don't really know what that is. It's so interesting. It's obviously something I planted in a row. It's very nicely in a row. I don't know what it is. I'm thinking it's a kind of celery. Don't know. The hornets are a little grumpy because they don't have their water. Usually I have that full, but it dried out today, so I need to go get some water in there. The Tiny Tim tomatoes are doing fine. They're not my favorite tomato. I don't know that I'd grow them again, but they were kind of fun, and if you have a small space, those are awesome. That's all the bigger they get, and they produce a ton, as you can see. So many tomatoes in there. This cabbage is crazy, and it still has not formed a cabbage head, but yeah, it's crazy. The red kale, is that what it is? Red Russian kale. It's great. There's a lot of it. Too many plants. Need to pull that cabbage. I pulled some cabbage. This squash, I have pulled most of these squash off that are full and ripe and ready. Those were great. The donkeys did get those that were on the fence over there, so I was glad I cut that off, but it did mean I lost the growing end of the vine, and probably about 4 or 5 more squash, which is all right because I have a lot of those squash since they were on my trellis over there. My poor arches with nothing on them except a melon plant that's not a melon plant. What you doing, Basilbell? Can you back? Back. Here we go. Back it up. So that's kind of interesting. The hay bale end of the garden is looking amazing, and actually my next video I'm going to give an update kind of on the whole hay bale process this year and just what is going on. I have a bunch more potatoes to harvest in the aisle here and in a few other places, and I'm not sure when to dig them up. I ate the ones we picked before. The chickens ate most of the... I need to come harvest some beans. That's a next order business, but it's actually quite warm out here right now. It's not fully in shade yet. Oh, the chickens were in the garden. Know how I know? Because they buried some of my vine. Those little boogers. All right, I've got to figure out where they got in. Those little rascals. I mean, there's not a lot of damage they can do. So much of this is already like winding down, but still not winding down. I really don't want them in here burying the plants. They did, yeah, they got all of the potatoes that were up on the hill, sadly. I had a great time digging, but they did dig through my weed control. They dug all the way down through the cardboard, so I was kind of interested to see how those potatoes would look. I have no idea because I didn't get them. This is my spaghetti squash, looking amazing. This is the crazy mess that is rogue potatoes, sweet potatoes, kohlrabi, beans that are dying down, beans that are still going, the rogue tomato plant. This is the everything pile of, this is the pile of everything, and some marigolds, just to round things out with a little color. So this is going to be an interesting project to dig this out in the next few weeks. I don't know when I should pick sweet potato plants, and I don't know if they're ready to pick. The vines are very vigorous. They're growing all through the aisle, down over there, down over there. There's a donkey. Oh, that is bright. But yeah, there was definitely a chicken out in here. This path lets me know this. Come on, Basil Bell, let's go get our bucket so we can pick some beans. That's Basil Bell's favorite time. She likes the beans. Oh, don't sit there, you silly girl. Oh, there. Your girl. That's my other cantaloupe, and so I'm glad the chickens didn't get that. Basil Bell, you're such a goof. Don't step on my cantaloupe, baby. All right, we're gonna get some beans and get to harvesting. So there you go. That's what the garden is looking like right now. Ooh, the grapes. We have, yes, I see you, Tazaru. Oh my gosh, donkeys are so difficult. They're super cute though. Anyway, I did not show you the grapes, so maybe I'll go back and show you those. Hold on a second. Let me flip this. All right, so we've got Niagaras here that are looking pretty good. Let's see if we can get in there. No, those are still gonna be tart. These are looking so pretty. Oh my gosh, isn't that gorgeous? Look at those babies. These are not quite yet ripe, but they're so close. Let me just grab one to make sure I'm right. These, I don't know, are these That was awkward. I think I was just stung by a bee or a hornet or a little something. Anyway, then it was flying around and I had to run. I said a bad word. I'm not going over back by the grapes right now because I think they're active because I didn't put water out, and the bees really like water. Well, the hornets, the yellow jackets, the things that normally don't bug me at all are a little annoyed with me because there wasn't any water for them today. Or at least this afternoon. There was water earlier today, but you know, it was hot. So the grapes are looking pretty good. They're not quite ripe. Let's go pick some beans. The donkeys will appreciate this. Standing too close. I was right by the feeder and that one wanted this one. There are 3 of them right about now. Hello, cutie pies. Oh, hi, sweetheart. You're so brave. Oh, I don't know if you saw that, but it was literally like 1.5 feet from me. Well, I'm standing here and that's there, and it came to the other side of the feeder and was going to drink. But then it went back up there. It wasn't quite that brave. It's a big one over at that feeder. Who doesn't want to share? All right, let me go. It's not the big one. It's one of the babies, but it's getting mature. Oh, sorry, sweetheart. Dang it. I stepped forward. Now it's going over to drink there.